Welcome, traveler. You have summoned the Phoenix Gate, or it has summoned you. This gate appears when comfort readings will no longer provide the clarity you need. I am the Golden Rose, High Priestess and Psychopomp through this threshold with you. If you are ready, the crossing begins. What is the current state of my viewer? Cycle, belief, or dynamic is currently shaping their reality. Caradwin, transformation. It is such a wonderful card. Let me pull up that deck. I feel called, and normally I don't. I'm comfortable enough with most of these to just kind of talk about the goddesses, but hers is asking me to pull up the reading. Oh, this might be so small I might not even be able to read it with my glasses. I forgot how small this book is. Caradwin, transformation. Caradwin is the Welsh goddess of wisdom, inspiration, and rebirth. She is a shape-shifting witch, herbalist, and keeper of the cauldron of knowledge. Her magical cauldron holds a potion that grants inspiration, knowledge, and transformation, but it must be brewed for a full year and a day to achieve its potency. In legend, Caradwin leaves a young servant, Gwion, to watch. So this isn't pronunciation, it's because the writing is so small. To watch the brew, but he accidentally spilled some, granting him the knowledge and power of the potion. He didn't just accidentally spill some. He spilled some and drank it to try to clean it up, to not waste a drop. So he didn't just spill it. He drank it because he was trying to clean it up. An angry Caradwin gives chase until he finally finds safety by transforming into her child, whom she is unable to harm. There's so much more of a story than this. So they run all over the place. He chases her. They shapeshift. She finally consumes him, I believe. And when she consumes him, it's kind of like the wizard duel between Merlin and Madame Mim in The Sword and the Stone, the Disney Sword and the Stone. So it's a similar story, right? And that battle probably actually inspired The Sword and the Stone. But let's look at the meaning. Glorious and magical energy is swirling all around you. You are prepared for this transformation. Caradwin is here to guide you as you release the limitations of the past and step forward into this exciting new phase in your life. You are coming into a truer and deeper understanding of yourself. Enjoy the reward and your dedication to your growth. I do really love this story of Caradwin. I'm not going to go into it any further because I am not the expert on her story. I know enough of her story to help with this reading, but she has a very, very interesting story. If you are interested in it, I suggest you look it up. That whole story about her and Gwion is much richer than that book implies, and it has a lot of messages that might actually help you with your transformation insights. So, all right, let's move on to the next question. What chapter is ending, whether my viewer accepts it or not? Since they're in this transformation stage, Caradwin is on the board. I don't even know if I'm saying her name right. I wish I knew how to say their names because it feels dishonorable to be just mispronouncing them so horribly. And the reason I feel this way is because my name is not common or normal. So people mispronounce it all the time. And it kind of drives me nuts sometimes. So it makes me a little more sensitive to that. So I wish I knew the proper pronunciation for these names. And I apologize to the people who do and are listening to me butcher it. All right, what chapter is ending, whether you accept it or not? What? That was way too many. Too many. I want them back in nice. There was a new dawn in there and manifestations. So you have some manifestations that are coming to fruition. You've been doing some work. So watch for those, which transformation indicates a lot. I'm going to let that one fall. All right, growth. I am loving this. I'm going to pause just a minute. Not pause the camera. I'm going to pause in my reading before I go any further. I am seeing the parallels. Ugh. No, not the book. Oh my gosh, look at me. I'm just going all over. And so there's her card in my other deck. And I just am really, really feeling called to the energies of this imagery. Very, very inward, very creating. Here's the cauldron. Here she's holding a plant, nurturing its growth. So you have been really, really working to nurture something. Okay. You maybe have some ritualistic practices of your own, some of that witchy energy, but I just can't help but notice the parallel between this. So you have been really, really applying some work. This isn't just random transformation. This isn't an external event happening that is, you've been working on this. Like that manifestation card on the bottom wasn't there for nothing. This is something you have put work, focus, and attention towards. Okay, so the chapter that is ending is one you have probably pushed that direction. So this isn't going to catch you by surprise. I'm going to pull up Ceridwen in this one just because I want to see. Respect the crone and bring introspection to her archetype within you. She is an embodiment of wisdom for serving yourself and those around you. So I am scanning it really, really quick. The chase ended when Ceridwen took the form of a hen and swallowed Gwion, who was hiding in a grain of corn, and then he transformed into her baby. To celebrate the crone is to honor the final aspect of the goddess, the third representation of the circle of life. She understands that the more you learn, the less you know, and that becoming a master means becoming the fool again. Notice the age difference in that too, that transformation. She knows the maiden and the mother voyages have been vital aspects to the journey of the wise woman, for both carried incomplete and unrefined versions of the future crone within them. As the crone journeyed through the paths of maidenhood and motherhood, the tiny seed within grew through the life experiences laid before her. It's not that the seed wasn't there initially, but life experience gave it space to sprout to fruition. Notice the plant. So I'm reading for this card, and it's paralleling this one. No. It's not the seed wasn't there initially, but life experience gave it space to sprout to fruition, allowing it to become a beautiful oak tree. Each branch represents a fork in the road of her many former selves. Each leaf represents a decision, a mistake, a hurt, a love, a heartbreak that blossomed into wisdom garnered through experience. This wisdom brings forth the ability to look back in hindsight at why certain things had to happen and why particular doors had to close. The crone can be a frightening figure to those who do not yet understand her and her untamed nature. Ceridwen was not necessarily the good guy in her story. She who deserves the most reverence can incite the most substantial feelings of confrontation in those still enamored with the ideas of beauty associated with youth. That is indicating that you may encounter some resistance from others. But remember, somebody else's intimidation does not mean that you are the problem. It just means they have the fear. The crone's beauty holds a depth that youth cannot match and should be respected for holding. The wisdom from a life long lived is a privilege and a beauty to behold with its richness and depth. Honor the crone and she will guide you forward in her wisdom, compassion, and knowledge. Estanetle. And again, another name that I am not going to say well. And she was the bottom energy on that deck. That's all about independence and trial by fire. Fire used for cooking and making potions. But what I see is you are an individual who has taken some very, very intentional and meaningful steps in your life towards a goal, right? So towards a very specific goal. And that is the direction you are going. So what chapter is ending, whether you expect it or not, this growth phase is ending. This one. What cannot cross this threshold with you? What cannot cross this threshold with you? The old path. This is like old patterns, old ways of doing things, old beliefs. This old way of doing things. So any pattern behaviors, you're opening into something new and unwritten. So anything that used to be understood, any directions, programming, conditioning, no longer apply. What fear is guarding your next level? I see an individual entering the pathless path, the unwritten path. There is no story, no prediction that has been written, no prophecy about where you are going next, because you have transformed it all. That is the power of Caradwyn. In my experience, what fear is guarding your next level? Ooh. The harpy, a creature of many guises. In storms I soar, amid virtues and vices, a reflection of life's score. So the harpy to me, again, is neither a good guy nor a bad guy. She represents discernment. The owl also came out. So the fear that is guarding your next level is about the shadows, the deeper truths, what you have gone through. So you're in a measuring, and I don't know that it's necessarily a fear guarding your next level. What this is calling you to is an evaluation of your fear and your discernment, right? You are coming out of this growth stage. You are walking a path that is not the one you were on before. So you're taking this, and this could be career. So you may have worked in one career, venue, outlet, channel, and now you're taking something completely new. For example, my background is in forensic psychology, and now I'm sitting here building content and reading tarot. Something like that. Okay, so one path is ending and you're starting something new. And what is holding you back? What fear is guarding your next level is this discernment. Can you take your experiences, throw all of those identities that you've had in the past, those experiences, into the cauldron, mix them together to create something new? That is your fear. And the answer to that is yes, you can. The deeper truth is you've written the path the whole time. Right? The path was never written before. We had people who had ideas of it based on the paths they walked that they were given in their lives, but their path was unwritten for them too. Okay, and that's the deeper truth, is we have been walking the pathless path our entire lives. We have just been walking it under the tutelage of people who were walking their own, right? That's what the child stage is for. We walk with our parents along our parents' path until we are mature enough to take agency and authority for our own, right? And that's common sense. So now you are walking into your own path again, a new path. You're leaving these old paths behind, and there's just that little bit of hesitation between, am I making this right decision? Is this really aligned? So just some discernment. And that is okay. That is good. We want to have fear to slow us down just enough to make sure we are using our discernment and not just plowing through blindly. Okay, fear is just supposed to cause us to pause and reflect long enough to make sure we are aligned. Okay, what version of my viewer is emerging through this threshold? I'm going to scoot this to the side since she is an aside. I pulled her in for support. And the crone and the maiden in one image. That's what I see in these, is I see someone who is in their crone and maiden and mother, because if you're growing in mother energies. What version of you is emerging from this? I'll laugh so hard if I get the witch. Oh. Caradwin, you are so much fun for me when you appear. What version of my viewer is emerging? I'm pretty close to the witch. The enchanter. Deception and trickery. So I'm getting a lot of Loki energy. And I don't view this as necessarily bad. What I view, so the version of you that is emerging is someone who has the ability to manipulate their reality. That can have good and bad effects on others and ourselves when we are not careful in our discernment. So this is where the caution is coming in, because we can become egotistical in our power, right? So you've gone through a transformation. You've liberated yourself from this path that was no longer serving you and set yourself on a new path. And there is a lot of temptation whenever we start something new to either go too far, like to go into excess with it, to plow ahead too fast, or to go right back to old behaviors, old choices, old patterns. So the harpy is here. And the fear that is guarding your next level is to ask you and keep you in the state of reflection and pause, and don't go forward too fast, because that is the deception. That is the trick, right? Don't eat the piece of corn. That was Caradwin's downfall in the end, was she ate the piece of corn. So don't move too fast. You are becoming someone who is powerful. With great power comes great responsibility. With great power comes great responsibility. This power that you have can do good in the lives of others, or it can be harmful in the lives of others. So what version of you is emerging? Let us pause at this threshold to take in the view. We have felt what was ending and what truths asked to be faced, some motives, intentions, and pace. Change often carries grief alongside liberation. Make sure our grief isn't fueling any of that pace. Before we take flight from here, let's take one audible, slow breath. Now, let's reveal the wings you are forming. What action proves that my viewer has crossed over this threshold into this new power? This is quite the powerful state you're entering into. I do really like it. Just where are you going to align your powers once you cross this threshold? That is the question. What action proves they've crossed over this threshold? Phoenix Gate is behind them. One or two cards, please. That is a few, but all I accept. Because that'll carry us through the rest of the reading. So, the action proves that you've crossed over is your persistence. This could be a Knight of Pentacles coming in, a person very practical, pragmatic, coming in to kind of ground your energies. So again, use your discernment. Okay. Steady progress defines your journey. Your patience and diligence ensure long-term success, even when the path feels slow. So it will, and that's what this is telling you. You're on this new path. You want to plow into it. You feel powerful, but that is the trick. Use your discernment. In storms I soar amid virtues and vices, a reflection of life's score. I really would recommend looking into the Ceridwen myth. Her and Gwion, I feel at play in this. So there may be a masculine in this energies as well that might be trying to aid you, but the energies are just not quite balanced, right? So go slow, check your discernment, because something here is not quite in balance. Something here wants you to rush and feel urgent. And that is the deception and the trick. So do not let the excitement move you forward too quickly. We don't want to start pulling at this plant and these leaves in the shoot when it is young and sprouting. We want to nurture it until it grows into that tree. We don't want to go pulling on it too fast. So watch your excitement, temper your excitement. This is calling you to have steady hands. What single action proves, that's the same question. What internal, external support is available to them? Progress. Your plans are starting to take shape. Opportunities are on the horizon, and the work you've done is beginning to show results. Trust the progress and remain patient. Your vision is expanding and success is within reach. So the internal or external support that is available to you is your own intuition and ability to self-regulate. This is calling you into spiritual resilience, which is not the same as the long suffering that a lot of us do in these love endurance races, right? This is not long suffering. This is being able to evaluate your own virtues and vices. This is how well do you know yourself? Can you regulate your own energies as you move forward into this future, this new path? This is about maturing, emotional maturity. And can you temper your excitement and your power? Because you are stepping into your power. Right? There's the owl is here, it's wisdom, the ability to see. You've got new things growing. You're powerful. You are a powerful manifester. But don't let it get you swept away. Okay, what message does their evolved self send back to them now? If you are able to nurture these energies, temper that masculine within you, right? Our masculine energies are our drive. So what this is asking you to do is to remain in your Queen of Cups energy. Tap into your heart center. In restful meditative reflection, evaluate the progress you're making to determine if your masculine energy of drive in the material things in your life are not going farther ahead, right? We're cooking here. And when you bake a cake, you want it to bake for the right amount of time. You want the ingredients to be mixed in right measure. And that's what this is calling you to. Can you mix your potion appropriately and then leave it to grow? Leave it to grow. This wants you in your Knight of Pentacles energy so that you are not running ahead of yourself. Okay, so temper your fire a little bit. Stay grounded and rooted. This isn't about something outside of you coming in and being deceptive. It is your own ego that can get excited when we become powerful. When we step into our power and we start seeing our manifestation come in, our ego wants to just run. So these cards are asking, are you really the master of your ego? Or will your undoing be in the chase? And that is the question that you are being posed with. The Phoenix Gate has opened. The fire has claimed truth. The ashes have been witnessed and the wings are forming. What you carry forward from this gate is yours to nurture, protect, and grow. Transformation is rarely loud. It is often quiet choices repeated over time. You are allowed to move at the pace your truth requires. Thank you for crossing this threshold beside me. If this reading spoke to your journey, you are invited to share what resonates in the comments. If you would like to explore work like this more, learn how to tap into these energies, work with your body, be more embodied in your sovereignty, I invite you to check out my school community. The link is in my description on my channel page. Until the next gate summons.